Geez, you're kind of acting like it's you that passed.
No, this is not your house. Now, what's your name?
I'm Goofy.
What do you make of that voice?
Sounds confused. Is he senile?
The voice on this tape is coming from an 11-year-old girl.
Well, hi there one and all. Welcome to another video review. This time it's James Wan's The Conjuring 2. I don't do a lot of video reviews, but after seeing this movie last night, I just had to talk about it. I love this movie. It was a great experience and a great movie. Let me preface this by saying I really enjoyed the first Conjuring. It's one of the better horror movies we've had in a long time, in my opinion. I love the fact that James Wan is sort of going back to basics. It's very primal, it's very traditional. It's sort of haunted house, ghost, witch type stuff, and I just love that. Very traditional, rooted sort of horror, which I don't think we see quite enough of anymore. Even his Insidious movies can be a little bit sort of metaphysical for my tastes. I also want to mention that I was a little bit wary about going to see a horror movie in the middle of summer, but just as I headed out to the movie theater last night, it started raining, pouring down rain, dark clouds everywhere, and I saw this in a small theater packed full of scared teenagers. I was munching on popcorn, they were munching on popcorn. They were scared out of their minds. I mean, screaming, shrieking, laughing nervously, you know, the whole bit, and that was wonderful. It really added to the experience of this movie, because I think that's the way you should see this. You should go see this movie, and you should go see it in a packed house full of people reacting to it, because it's it's just delightful. The Conjuring 2 is about Lorraine and Ed Warren, who investigate paranormal activities, hauntings, possessions, ghostly things, just like in real life. It's actually based on true case, although exaggerated about 1,000-fold, but that's okay in my opinion. It takes place in London, where they investigate a poltergeist case in Enfield. There's a sort of poor family haunted by a mysterious poltergeist. The thing I loved so much about this movie, it's kind of hard to explain, but the first Conjuring took place in a big, I don't want to say mansion, but this big, beautiful house in America, out in the middle of nowhere. This one takes place in a very small, cheap London flat. Family who are not, you know, the most well-off people experience these hauntings, these ghostly things surrounding especially one of the youngest girls, an 11-year-old girl in the family. The film is so grounded in reality that I really found myself caring about the characters. You could really sort of believe that this actually happened. There is such a kind of eerie feeling about this one that is even more palpable than the first movie, in my opinion. Not that the first wasn't good, the first was wonderful. The first Conjuring has a great combination of creepy and outright scary. You know, it has those really tense, creepy scenes, and then it has these outright jump scares and frights, and this is sort of more of the same, but it was eerier in a lot of ways, and it had even better character moments. I found myself really caring about this family, especially the poor little girl that is sort of the center of attention of the paranormal activities in this movie. But also just Ed and Lorraine Warren, the way they are portrayed, they have a lot of really genuine character moments. And I honestly cried at one point. I'll be the first to admit it, I cried watching The Conjuring 2. And that happens to me when I'm sort of blindsided by the emotionality of a movie. When you go in expecting an action movie, or you go in expecting a horror movie, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I really care about these characters. It's well portrayed, well acted, well written, and some people may find it a little bit cheesy, or it's a little bit sort of like being hit over the head with an emotional scene all of a sudden, but I was genuinely sort of touched and moved by this movie, and that's sort of really rare these days with all blockbuster movies or big budget movies, and even more rare with horror movies, I think. So that was a really, really nice touch. That's why I like this even better than the first one, and the first one is great. Big plus for eeriness, big plus for character moments. Those are two really strong features for this film. The good and the bad about this movie is it's a James Wan movie. So if you've seen this movie, the first Conjuring in particular, you know what to expect going into this. He has a particular style. He has a particular way of filming things. He has a particular visual style, and he uses his camera to deliver frights, scares, and jump scares in a very particular way. And that's both the good and the bad about this movie, because it's James Wan sort of firing on all cylinders. It's James Wan doing what he loves. It's playing to his strengths, I feel, and that's what's great about this movie. He's utilizing all the trickery that he loves, and he does what we've come to expect. So, in a way, it is cliched, but in another way, it doesn't matter because it's so well handled. Does that make sense at all? It's like, yes, it's cliched even for James Wan, but it's still so well done. I can't deny that his camera work is so beautiful. He plays with sound, he plays with shadows and light a lot. Like, if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. There are moments where I thought I was like, all right, the camera is sort of drawing attention to itself. And then all of a sudden there was this new scene from out of nowhere where he just holds the camera for a very, very, very long time, and it's just brilliant. Or he uses focus. He'll focus on a character in the foreground while someone else is in the background, and it's just, he lets it just play out for a very, very long time. And that's a really bold and brilliant thing to do, in my opinion. He's really a director who knows what he wants to do, and he's got the fortitude and the skill to make it work. They're really beautiful films in a way. You can really sort of appreciate the craftsmanship of these movies, how they're handled, how the camera sort of weaves and bobs around. He loves to do the tilting thing where the camera will look at a character, then it will sort of slowly pan over to something, slowly pan all the way back, I mean, he probably does that 10 times at least in this movie, but it works. It makes the audience unsettled. You're sitting on pins and needles, and boy, was my audience sitting on pins and needles. They were frightened to death. I mean, screaming, jumping, almost crying. I think a couple of people were crying nervously during the movie. That's how scared they were. The downside to this movie, except I mentioned it's a little bit cliched in a way, and sort of cliched by James Wan standards, is that he does this thing with escalation, right? The movie starts out very calmly, and then it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then there's this big old climax at the end. And I feel like the ending could have been a little bit more subtle. I kind of feel the same way with the first Conjuring. He kind of takes it too far, and he starts to utilize CGI and things like that are not really necessary, because he's so talented in his own right that he doesn't need to use those things. But I will say that the experience as a whole, the sort of impact of the film as a whole, was so good that it didn't really matter that much. I mean, I was aware of the sort of flaws to the movie, if you can call them that, but it didn't really detract that much from the experience. It was still really wonderful. So there was no single thing about that movie that stuck out like a sore thumb that I said, oh, that's pretty crappy, or that's really bad, or that's not too well handled. It might be him playing with CGI a little bit, because it becomes a little bit Slender Man at times. That was the only real thing that sort of stuck out for me, like I might have changed that. But The Conjuring 2 is really haunting, and I don't just mean in the sort of scary movie way. I mean, this movie stayed with me. It's been almost 24 hours since I've seen the movie, and it's still, I'm going over it in my head. I'm thinking about the characters. I'm thinking about the real case. I'm thinking about some of the horror details that were just so eerie that it really sort of moved me to the core. It moved me in emotional ways, but it also moved me in sort of terrifying ways. And that's really the best praise I can give to any movie, is when it stays with you. I think I'm probably going to be thinking about this movie for weeks, if not months to come, and that's really the highest praise I can give any movie. So, The Conjuring 2 is one of those movies that I really want to run out and see again, or at least see as soon as it hits Blu-ray. I really want to rewatch the first one too, because it's just wonderful. I will say that if you don't like James Wan, you're probably not going to like this at all, because it's more of the same, only a little bit better, even more impactful in my opinion. But if you do like James Wan and you do like big budget studio horror films, then you have to see this one, and you should see it with an audience, because that's the optimal way of experiencing this thing. It was delightful. He's one of those directors, he can handle both creepy and outright scary. What I mean by that is he can milk the tension in a scene for a long time, and he can give you a straight up jump scare that'll really shake your popcorn, so to speak. For all of these wonderful positive characteristics, I'm actually gonna give this an even higher rating than I did to the original. I gave the original 4 stars out of 5, and I'm gonna give The Conjuring 2 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie overall. It was haunting, it was creepy, it was surprisingly emotional, and exceptionally well filmed. I think hardcore horror fans have to go see this movie, and I think the first sequence in the movie alone is worth the price of admission. You'll know when you see it. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was just like horror fan service. I love that so much, and that's just the beginning of the movie. The Conjuring 2, I personally love this one. Hope you guys go see it, and go see it with an audience. Alright, hope you've enjoyed this review. Take care, and I'll see you soon.